Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Packer Universe podcast, aka the Pup List. We're a Green Bay Packers fan podcast that brings you topical and relevant Packers news, along with our most humble, subjective opinions. This is episode 338. We're recording this live on Wednesday, December 10th, 2025. The Packers just beat the Bears on Sunday in an epic showdown, but now they move on to another fierce matchup this Sunday against the AFC's best team, the Denver Broncos. I'm your host, Tay, and joining me live tonight on Everywhere is our one and only
Ren. What up, Tay? How we doing on Wednesday, December 10th? Is it 10th, 11th? I don't even know anymore, man. It's a couple weeks before Christmas. 2 weeks from today, Christmas Eve, man. How you doing?
It's the 10th. It's Love Day. Doing pretty good. We had a big storm come through here. It was cold, this past weekend for the Bears game, and now we got dumped with snow. We don't get a home game for a bit.
Which they just finally confirmed that Saturday
the Ravens, right?
Against the Ravens will be at 7 o'clock prime time. So they got back-to-back Saturday games at night. Obviously, the first in Chicago, we knew that when we talked to Joey last week, was going to be the 7 o'clock matchup, or 7:15, whatever they do. 7:17, it probably kicks. Who knows? But
yeah,
the 2 weeks in a row, they'll play at the exact same time so they can get into their comfort mode as far as nothing out of the ordinary for 2 weeks. And then the final week will be still TBD at Minnesota.
Yeah, I guess it depends if they do better than they have been for the Vikings, but I don't think so. I think that's not going to happen. But
I think that one's going to be a Sunday noon tilt.
Yeah, exactly. No primetime action for the last game of the season for the Packers. But I like the Saturday night game, Ren. I love that 7 o'clock slot. It's perfect. And then you get it's Sunday. Obviously, if the Packers lose, then you get like the dreadful Sunday watching football, but your team lost kind of thing. But whatever. So yeah, that's great. I'm glad some of these things are falling in line. But I guess I kind of do like the TBD thing that they did with the schedule, like a lot. There's several weeks that were like that. I think it just makes for better football, better game when they can flex that stuff without disrupting too much ahead of time. I know it messes things with the planning if you're going to go to the game, months out. But as a general Packers fan, if you're at home, I think I like it.
No, I like Saturday games, man. Saturday late in the season, like you said, you get to wake up the next day. You don't have to go to work. You hope there's a win, so you get to really relax. The anxiety comes down. You got a dub, and then you just get to watch a relaxing day of Sunday football and just kind of hang out, maybe make some food and, make a day of it. But I'm not a huge fan of the TBD. At least it seems like this year the TBDs were, we know what day we're playing, just not with time. Not like this whole, we can shift it from Saturday to Sunday at whatever time we feel like. That's a little, I think, too much for teams to anticipate. At least this keeps the Packers on a routine. They know where they'll be over the next 3 weeks. And again, I think having that Saturday is nice. Keeps it consistent, like I was just saying. And then you get a mini extra day on the final, the mini bye with the Vikings. So.
Yeah. So the Monday becomes a Tuesday. I mean, the Tuesday becomes a Monday. Sunday, it's all messed up. I wish we had Mike McCarthy here to tell us how they have to switch their schedule up.
It's not fundamentally sound, Tay.
But I mean, the Packers are coming off a huge NFC North win here against the Bears. We did our first takeaway this past Sunday after the game, and that was fun. I mean, that was a good game. Obviously, it shouldn't have come down to the last play. We hate when that happens, but that seems to be the norm a lot of the time. So you just have to take it. A lot of people's favorite quote, "It is what it is," but you just deal with it. And if they would have went for 2, do you think they would have got it? I don't know. We'll never know. But
we saw the Monangai 2-point conversion. They just barreled the Packers into the end zone, and they do have a very good offensive line. So I would have not felt real good about it in their prospects of winning the game. They had had Chicago gone for 2. So I'm glad it didn't come to that. We heard all week about, that the guy you met last week and Evan Williams was supposed to be trailing Kmet there. And, Nixon's got more, and he's like, oh, he's as he's watching, obviously, Caleb roll out to his left. He knows Moore's going this way. He's probably not going to throw the ball to Moore. That's all the way across the field. So he's like, well, somebody better drop on him. And obviously, he did the right thing, made the huge play. And, the rest is history. We've got to talk about it all week, being just an amazing play. And I got to scream out loud when it happened. But, hey, the only reason we know Evan was supposed to be there is he owned up to it, because, like a lot of people said, if the player doesn't own up to it, they say, yeah, that was probably somebody else's assignment. They're not going to name the name. But good on him to, recognize, hey, I made a mistake, but glad my teammate picked me up in that huge moment. So,
yeah. I don't know if you have anything else to touch on for that game. You can think about it while I bring up this. I kind of had a discussion with my coworker, one of our mutual friends, and we talked about the wide receivers stuff a little bit, after the game, like on Monday, Tuesday. And I kind of wanted to talk about the receivers quick. Watson had a great game. Everyone in the tabloids, right? In the tabloids, the media is like, he is the number one wide receiver now. It's Parrott, duh. And I'm just like, okay, it's the, flavor of the week here. Like, let's crown Christian the number one wide receiver. And maybe he is, but I guess I'm not ready to say that quite yet. I think it still has to shake out. I don't really care for the labeling of wide receiver one, really, but Watson stepped up and he had some really awesome plays. I think he only had 4 receptions, but those 2 TDs, right? And they were big time plays. Romeo, had a kind of like a down game in comparison to what he's been doing over the season as Mr. Reliable for Love. And then Jaden Reed comes back from injury and he's all over the place, especially on that first drive. So I think this is more what the Packers are. They're just using who's out there, and whoever's getting open is getting the ball. I don't really think there's a competition for wide receiver one on this team. I don't think it really matters. And that's probably what Coach LaFleur kind of says about it too. But it still makes me yearn for like a really true number one wideout like we had with Devontae, where it's just like, this dude's going to go out there and be baller week in, week out. He's the best route runner we have. He's got hands of glue. I don't think we have that. And I don't know if we're ever going to get that, like with the group we have now, unless you want to disagree, chime in. But I just think,
I do disagree with the possibility that Watson, the big thing with him is he's got to stay healthy, Tay.
Yeah.
If he stays healthy the rest of the season and then through, half a season next year, continues to put up the numbers he's putting up, he's a number one, Tay. You can't teach 6'4" and the speed he has. You can't. What he does for that offense is open it up in a way that none of the other wide receivers do, Tay. I mean, you can see it, and you can see that offense start to become, an offense that you want to see, with the ability to be dynamic and to open up everything for everybody else.
Yeah.
He lends that to that entire football team. So you kind of saw it, and I pointed out a couple weeks ago, as Kraft left, he came back. The offense was kind of that Kraft version offense, and now it's morphing into this offense that's made to go because Watson's back. If they didn't have him back right now, Tay, I don't know how well they'd be able to move the ball. But because he is there, defenses have to respect it. Sure, they still play too high on you a lot of times, saying, yeah, run it at us first.
Yeah.
And they'll do that. But at the same time, when you start seeing more stuff, now that you got Reed back too, being that complementary piece, that stuff over the middle and you're playing too high, those slants with Watson's speed or even Jay Reed's speed, look out, teams in the NFL. This team's going to scorch you, and they'll scorch you fast.
Yeah.
So I think with his speed and his size, if he stays healthy over the next, let's say to 17 games, a season's worth, I think you're going to say, yeah, he's the guy heads and tails above everybody else. I mean, it's disappointing, with whatever the injury's been down the stretch with Golden, but he's been kind of a disappointment all year with obviously where they took him and never found the end zone once. I don't know that he's going to. They have some nice complementary pieces, and maybe he becomes your Dobbs next year because Dobbs likely isn't going to be there. So, but I think when you look around with having Tuck back and Watson and obviously Reed and then Golden, and listen, Melton, we know what he did in that deep play, and he's back playing wide receiver for the Packers. He's one of them, as LaFleur said. They weren't ever letting that guy get out of the building. I think they're A-okay without Dobbs, and clearly Sunday against the Bears, you didn't need him because he caught 0 passes, Tay.
Yeah, and so let me break it out for you. Watson played 44 snaps. Dobbs played 43. Reed played 25. Melton played 9. Wicks played 6, and Goldman played 5. Did you even see those guys out there?
When was that? I want to say you saw Golden behind the interception.
Yeah.
On that one, he was in that play. I think that's who he was looking at, and then CJ Gardner Johnson, obviously was right there for it. But other than that, no, I don't recall seeing Wicks, especially obviously a week removed from his breakout game, which is crazy, and only getting 6 snaps. But who knows? And maybe it was just they had a different game plan. That's okay. You want a game plan different for different teams in different weeks with different personnel, and as you should. If you're bringing out the same wrinkles week to week, teams are going to know what you're bringing to the table. But they'll keep teams off balance a little bit. And you dominate the Vikings with a run game. Obviously, you have the Wicks game in Detroit on the turf, and then the Watson game against the Bears, on that cold Sunday. So I think it's great. Tay. I disagree. Watson has the ability, bringing this full circle to be a number 1.
Well, you're saying the ability to be. I'm saying he's not. Like, you can't say he is right now. He had a great game, but what does that mean? Like, Dobbs
he's had a great number of weeks now. I mean, he is really making this offense go. The offense goes where he goes, kind of like it was going where Tuck went.
And I listed off those 6 wide receivers. That's our crew right now. That's what we got. And I love the fact, if that's true, like we just kind of alluded to, like that if Matt LaFleur's game planning for certain teams with certain wide receivers, but it's just strange to me. Wicks was like a ghost town. Like, where was Wicks after a good game? It's like, okay, strange. But I know Reed came back. Maybe that influenced things, and it was working. So, I'm not complaining. I'm just saying it's just it's strange. And then this is a discussion topic for another time, a later time, Ren. But you're looking at next year's wide receiver room, or even years plus, and we'll have to get into that in the offseason, because it's fascinating, because Watson is on a 1-year deal, right? You have up and coming wide receivers that you drafted that are injured this year. With Savion, I mean, I don't even know where he's at. He's not on the 6th list, so he's the 7th, right? But that's why Melton's playing, because Savion's not in. And
now you got Heath down in the ATL, Tay. So
yep. So it's just like we had a plethora of wide receivers, and they're all were evaluated as pretty good options. But we keep seeing like everyone kind of bouncing in and out. And I don't know if that's hurting our team a lot or not, or hopefully it keeps the defense off more than it does.
Well, I think if you only have one really good one, what do teams do? They bracket, they blanket, and they take that guy away and they make the other guys try to beat him. Where Green Bay has a bunch of guys that who knows whose game it's going to be. Like I said, it was a running game. It was a Wicks game. It was a Watson game. And, who knows this week? Maybe Dobbs will come back and have a huge week in Denver. I mean, it's anybody's ball game.
I'm going to bring up the roster moves, because we didn't really touch on that last week. We had a guest on last week, Joey Christopoulos, the Bears fan, our friend of the podcast, and we didn't really get to some of the things that we normally do. So let me bring this up. Add you, Ren. So we added 2 defensive linemen. One was Jordan Riley, and the other one was Quentin Bohanna. I love that name, Bohanna. Quentin. Let's start with Jordan. Quentin Bohanna. He He's 6'4", 327. He was a 6th-round pick in 2021. He spent 5 seasons with different teams: Dallas, Detroit, Tennessee, and Seattle. The Packers claimed him off waivers last Saturday from the Seahawks. He did not play. He was inactive, but he's supposed to be a run stopper, a space filler. So we'll see if he plays. But Jordan Riley, he's 6'5", 338. He was a 7th-round pick of the Giants in 2023. He played for the Giants, but then he was on the practice squad, and that's where the Packers signed him off the practice squad last week. He played, and he played 14 snaps, 20% of the snaps of the game versus the Bears, and he's supposed to be also help stop the run. So
clearly a space filler at that size day.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. So with Wyatt, going on IR, picked up a couple big guys, and hopefully that helps things out. To me, Riley playing 14 snaps, that's, I don't know, I guess that sounds a little low, but I think that's pretty significant.
I think right away, pressed into service when you just brought him into town, a few days before. Yeah, it's a little bit surprising, but it's also not that surprising given, Brinson's a rookie. You don't want to press him into 40 snaps in a game right away. Ease him in, get him used to where he needs to be. But yeah, I think anytime you can, and how thin they were there, obviously after the loss of Wyatt. Are these guys going to be, the Howard Greens of the world that are really going to make a difference down the stretch? I'm not sure, but certainly they needed bodies there, and they got them.
This is obvious. We talked about him already, but they activated Jaden Reed. He played well. They used him well. So I'm looking forward to more Jay Reed going forward. And then they released Malik Heath, and he cleared waivers and then was signed with Atlanta, like you said, which is I think everyone's like, okay, bye. Because
clearly, remember the time he was not, I want to say it was New York. He was not invited out.
Yeah.
So he somehow got under LaFleur's skin. And, when you're told to stay home, something great, and by that I mean not great, happened behind the scenes. And he got himself in the doghouse and then slowly worked his way out of Green Bay.
Yeah. And so with, 7 available, including Mountain wide receivers, we can afford to move on from Heath, especially, with Reed back and Melton being able to come over and play both positions and play wide receiver again. It's great.
And as Matt says, Bo is one of them. I mean, we talked about that in the offseason. That was, they wanted to do anything and everything to make sure Bo Melton could be part of the Packers, and he's still there. And a hell of a touchdown catch. Yep. Jordan just had enough on that one, man. Left it up there a little longer than I would have liked on that one. But Bo made a great catch.
It's interesting to see Bo Melton and Malik Heath. They're kind of always been on the periphery of the wide receiving core for a few years now. And now to see it just branch off, yes, Bo Melton's the guy. He has a purpose. He has use. Malik Heath, something happened this year. Now he's totally out. He's gone now.
And Bo's a complete team player, clearly. I mean, he was saying, through his actions, I'll do whatever it takes to play on this football team. Move me, do whatever. I'm here. I don't care. I don't care if I get 6 snaps or 60 snaps in a game. Just let me be here. So, and I think that's a pretty easy decision to make.
Let's move on to some injury reports, Ren.
Yeah, I got good news today.
Our laundry list still exists, though. It's super.
There's always laundry on the Packers IR list.
I mean, geez. But everybody on this is basically limited participation, except Jordan Love is listed as full hamstring, or not hamstring, left shoulder. But the one that's surprising me and everyone else in Packer Universe is Josh Jacobs with a knee. He did not participate. I don't really know where this came from. Ren, did you hear anything about this in more detail than what we see on the report?
My guess is this is season workload, Tay. I mean, we saw him in Detroit leave the game for a little bit. He's been banged up. That knee's been banged up before that game too. Obviously, he missed a game. That was we know we were there when they played the Vikings, and that was the Emmanuel Wilson game. So, it is what it is. They just want to give the guy rest, and I think that's all it is. Tay, the knee is banged up. He's probably got a bone bruise there, or whatever he's got going, knee sprain potentially, but he's been playing through it. I mean, we know Josh Jacobs is tough as nails, and he's going to do everything to play every week. So I'd be real surprised if we didn't see him as a go on Sunday. If they don't, obviously you have to feel fairly good about having Wilson get a bulk of those carries.
A lot of these guys, like I said, are limited participation. You like to see that versus the did not participate, which insinuates a little more injury. But over the next 2 days, by Friday, we're going to see probably some of these move to did not participate and probably maybe be out. So I don't know what's going to happen. Javon Bullard played through an injury, was able to play last week, did great. Matthew Golden, hopefully he's on the field more. He can do more. Marshawn Lloyd, he's limited, but can he be activated at this point? Probably not. But it'd be great, right? If Josh Jacobs does truly have an injury that keeps him out of the Denver game, this would be great to have him. But I just don't see that happening.
I wouldn't see Lloyd back in Denver, but potentially, when they go play Chicago the following week, he's in his window, and I think either be that week or the week of the Ravens, they got to make a move one of those 2 weeks. So.
We have Lucas Van Ness finally practicing, and LaFleur said, yes, he's practicing. So hopefully that is an indication that he's actually going to play. But you can see sort of a battle there between Enigbare and Van Ness for maybe that position, right? Obviously, Gary's here for the long haul. They're not going to do anything with him, but if Van Ness doesn't, do something and he's not available on the field, I don't know. And with Enigbare, doing good work right now, that's definitely a position battle to look at and to, I don't know, I guess watch and see what happens with that.
Yeah, a lot of people brought that up. Is this going to take away from Enigbare's snaps? Because he's been huge and made that big play right before the Bears get to fourth down there on that final play. So shutting that third down play down. And I mean, I doubt that this week at the very least that if Van Ness does play, he's going to get a whole lot of snaps. They'll bring him along slow as they tend to do. But we remember, I think he played. Was it when we went against the Vikings or against the Lions? One of the two, and he played 6 snaps, and then he's right back in the walking boot the next week.
Yeah. That's disappointing. I mean, man, you want that to work out. First round pick, let's go. But it's so frustrating.
Yeah, and the nice thing about him is you can put him at that 3 technique in the middle sometimes. If again you're worried about that run D, Lucas Van Ness can do that a little bit or rush from that spot. So
I just want to see what it's like having 4 good rushers, interchangeable. And Micah's such a trooper, man. He's out there for most of the snaps, just relentless. But do you give him breaks? Midway through the game.
I mean, he's missing generally 10 snaps a game. For the most part, he's out there. Obviously, sometimes not on first down, but you get him to longer second down in distance, and obviously on third down, he's always there. You need him there because he affects the play so much. Even though he didn't get to Caleb last week. He was pushing Caleb out of the pocket. We know Caleb can be slippery and dangerous there, but he's making that quarterback and other quarterbacks react a hair too fast. And, you end up with generally good things happening when the quarterbacks push too quickly, even if you're not getting the pressure numbers or the sacks. So
we've got 3 of our wide receivers on this list, limited participation. Jay Reed, obviously his shoulder, that's his break. He's just, they're not putting him in all the way. That's likely, but Savion Williams with the foot, I mean, is that going to keep him out again? I don't know. And Dontavian Wicks ankle, this must be new, right? I don't know, But at least they have enough bodies with the wide receiver core that they can get away with having a couple of these guys out. Ren, let's
Denver.
Move on to Denver.
Balmy Denver.
Balmy Denver. I did look at it just before we started, and it says 59 degrees.
Yep, it's gonna feel really nice. So, no issue with the cold there. Obviously, the Packers handled that just fine last Sunday in Green Bay. But looks like the only 2 cold games left, at least of the regular season, will be in Chicago and then back in Green Bay a couple days after Christmas. So
the Ravens, yeah. So, I mean, we had a good matchup last week. It was important. Everyone was watching the Bears and the Packers because of what it meant to the standings, to the playoff picture, to everything like that. But now here we go again, Ren. We are taking on the number 1 seed in the AFC. They are 11-2. They've won 10 in a row. Crazy. And I didn't think they were going to be like this year. I think this comes as a shock to most people, I guess. And I don't know. I didn't expect this. I don't know where this came from. Sean Payton, yes, he's a pretty good coach. Don't always agree with his choices, but
don't
he's
like
really
the guy, decent coach.
Yeah. He's rallied this team. He's turned this team around pretty quick into a winning franchise, and that is something. So props to him. And here we go again. We're out of the frying pan into the fire. So tell me what you got on these Broncos.
Well, I mean, these kind of matchups are fun I mean, non-regular opponents like this. Obviously, as Packer fans, we have some negative feels on those Broncos. And time they should have been back-to-back Super Bowl champions, but Mike Holmgren coached a really poor second half. Let's not go there. I don't know why I did that, but Denver's really good today. I mean, what makes this team go is their defense. That's where it starts and ends. The offense is okay. They've played a lot of weaker opponents. They beat some good teams. Obviously, the Chiefs are still no slouch to go play the Chiefs and beat them. Beat the Eagles. Well, we know they're not quite the team they were last year, but you don't win 10 in a row if you're bad. So we know they're good. They're 4th in the league in points allowed. The Packers are 6th. So these are going to be 2 really good defenses going head to head. They are number 1 third down D in the league against the number 1 third down offense in the league in the Packers. So something's got to give in a lot of these aspects when these teams meet up on Sunday. So I think it's just going to be a fun one. I don't know the Broncos all that well. Obviously, Nix has been a really efficient quarterback. He's playing in Sean Payton's system, doing what's asked of him. I don't want to say he was 31 of 38 last week against the Raiders. This is the Raiders we're talking about. But I think, his full attempt was like per completion was 5.6 yards per attempt. So they're just kind of dinking and dunking you to death and then using that running game, at least they did last week, as the engine of the offense. They haven't done that all year, but, reading some Denver media, they liked the roadmap, the recipe, so to speak, for success last week against the Raiders. They want to see them, wear teams down with that run game. And then, when you need that occasional pass to Courtland Sutton, there it goes. But, I mean, these are not household names on offense. Sean Payton, when he came in, they had to give up draft capital to the Saints for him to come out of retirement. And he was smart to say, hey, let's get Russell Wilson the hell out of here. Let's get ourselves a quarterback. And Bo Nix has been, he's not going to blow your mind, but he's been a pretty solid quarterback. He'll make a mistake here and there. They have a really good offensive line today. He got sacked 3 times last week, but that was the most he's been sacked in the game all year. Most of the time they keep him pretty clean, and when you're clean, you can make plays, and they've been successful at that. But that being said, 4 of the last 5 games, they scored 23 or less. So this is not by any means an offense that's going to just chunk yard you to death. Again, it's really about the running game. The Packer DBs last week against the Bears, they pretty much shut those guys down. And you're talking about a receiving core here that's, I think, a lot less than what the Bears had brought to town, even with Rome Odunze out last week. Burden had 67, Komet had 42, and I think everybody else was under 30 yards. As far as anybody else to look at on offense, R.J. Harvey is the running back. The Packers are fairly good on the ground. They allow about 3.8, 4 yards to carry. What I want to say the rest about this team. The defense, Tay. We don't want to forget about the defense. This is the NFL sack master D, Tay. 55 sacks. I think they added another, 3 to 5 sacks last week. The next closest team is like 11 less than that, Tay. That's how good they are. Wow. It's not the guy to pinpoint's number 15, Nick Bonito. He had another 2.5 sacks. He's kind of, this maybe is my opinion, but I kind of liken him a little bit to Micah Parsons, in the sense just to go get it motor, get after it every play. You got to look out where 15 is, and he's a little bit undersized, just not that prototypical big edge rusher that you're thinking about. When you think edge rusher, I think you picture a guy like Myles Garrett, not a Micah Parsons, not a Nick Bonito. Those are, slightly a little bit more slender build guys, but they just have we want to compete every down, and we're going to fight for it. So as far as the Packers are concerned, on the other side, Love has taken 2 or fewer sacks in 11 of the 13 games this year. So the offensive line, for the most part, in pass protection, even though we complained as Packer fans all season, like when is this O-line going to get settled out, figured out? Well, they have over the last few weeks, Tay. And again, I'll say it again, Sean Ryan can play, man. And obviously putting Belton in there over Jordan Morgan has worked out. That's just a big mountain of a man. They've really started to lock down, and they've gotten better in the run game as a result, and the pass pro has been good. So it'll be interesting. Denver's rush D to go along with the edge rushers and the crazy defense they've got is 4th in the league. They allow 3.8 yards to carry. So anywhere you look, Pat Surtain, Tay, is in that backfield. When you got guys like Bonito and Surtain, those are 2 of the best young defenders in the NFL at 2 different levels of your defense. It's no wonder why they're as good as they are, which brings the surprising point. I'm sure you've heard about it, but do you know the point spread in this one, Tay?
No, I don't. I didn't look. I chose not to, just to add some tension to this moment right here. I would think, obviously, they're probably favored, of course. I'm going to say it's 6.5 Broncos.
It's 2.5 Green Bay.
Wow.
Yeah. So a team that's won 10 straight, Vegas, they must think like, Denver's good, but how good are they?
Well, I'm surprised that Denver is as good as they are. When I look at the stats and everything, comparison-wise, the Packers will edge out and beat them on offense, of course, and then defense is the other way around. But lately, we're on a 4-game win streak, could be 5 this Sunday. We're starting to look better. We're starting to look put together, and I really think that is what we do sometimes in the last few years, especially put it together late in the season and really show, kind of what we can do. And I think that's what's happening now. So I have more confidence in the Packers. I think that, yes, they're going up against a really good defense, but I think Matt LaFleur, if he can dial up a really good play calling game to get people in mismatches and just not necessarily trick plays, but plays that they can succeed at quickly, slants like have been starting to see again. I loved the dink and dunk, 3, 5, 7 yards. And yes, go deep when you can, but I just love that chunk yardage. It just keeps moving the ball. It keeps the momentum going. It keeps the defense off. So if that's what they have to do, please go ahead, Matt LaFleur, call that kind of game. I don't care, but whatever you can do to, not let Love sit in that pocket and get flushed or get harassed and make a bad throw. I still can't believe that interception he made is just strange to me, but it's not typical of him this year. So I don't think that will be typical this Sunday. I just think if they minimize the mistakes, and they play their offense the way they want to, and adapt to what's happening, then they have a really good shot, because I think they're really coming into their stride right now. The Packers are, and I actually believe that, and I think this is possible. This is going to be a good matchup, like you said. This is going to be fun, and I totally agree. And these are one of the two of the best teams right now in the NFL. So bring it on, 3:25 game. I'm sure most of the nation will be watching. I think if I had to pick a score, I think we're going to score. Oh boy, I'm going to put it up there as 28-24. Packers win at Mile High.
Tay, you said that you love the dink and dunk. Chicks dig the long ball, man. I love taking the deep shots, but I think really the dink and dunk stuff is what will get them there. But you have those speed elements in the offense now. When you can do that kind of misdirection run game with Reed in there, it actually works. And some of those, end around orbit motion pieces, I'm not a big fan of those plays, as you know, but Jay Reed can actually pull them off. So good with that. Good with getting the slant back in and maybe a couple of those off to the races. You got to keep defenses honest. Hopefully, throw a deep ball here and there because again, I think it's fun. You hit a couple of those. I mean, you never know where you're going to end up being. So I would say the Packers actually 31-20 over the Broncos today. Okay. And keep the offense humming. I mean, what's not to even like from, we didn't talk about it, but obviously the Luke Musgrave catch that wasn't a catch. You have to have like Wiley with his blocking and his release point, serviceable tight end. So I think this offense can really pick up some more steam down the stretch here, Tay. And I think it's really, again, with the addition, as you've seen this team get better, of Christian Watson, that's propelled this offense. Number one, propelled Matt LaFleur to get a little bit more creative and propelled the offense to start looking like a team that can get down on the field on you in a heartbeat. Because remember, if we go back prior to that, this was a team for weeks that was trying to run the football, but really not getting the Josh Jacobs run game going. Couldn't really get get out of their own way with the passing game. It was just kind of clunky, Tay. It just wasn't working real well, other than, the first couple games of the season before that. So it had been a number of weeks. But I know you're not a true believer, and I saw this one today, Tay, and I want to see if – I know you've started to change your mind, but we're 45 games in, Tay. We're 45 games into the Love-a-thon here, Toyota-thon, obviously. And here's one guy, 45 games in, 25 wins, 20 losses, 64.5 completion percentage, 11,761 yards, 81 touchdowns, 30 interceptions, a 98.5 QBR. The other, 27, 17, and 1. So you can maybe figure out who this one is. 64.7 completion percentage, higher there as well. 10,576 yards, about 1,000 less. 79 TDs, 2 less. 26 interceptions, actually 4 less interceptions, and a 98.8 QBR as opposed to a 98.5. One you have, Aaron Rodgers, through 45 of his first game as a starter. The other you have Jordan Love today.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm just saying, nobody wants to say elite because he'll make those plays once in a while that just confound you. But the numbers tell a different story, Tay.
When do you think people regarded Rodgers as an elite quarterback? Was it after the Super Bowl? So is that what needs to happen right now with Love? If Love goes to the Super Bowl and wins, then
I think towards the end of Rodgers, let's see. So he started. It would have been his third year. I want to say the third year, or it was his second year when they started to make a run, and then they played in that wild one out in Arizona that he should have got the face mask, but they get the fumble and the Cardinals win. I want to say that one was in overtime. Kurt Warner's team wins. I don't like Kurt Warner, so that always got under my skin. But I think that was when Rodgers. Everybody knew he was good. The defense wasn't great yet, but they're like, that's Rodgers. And I think, have we seen that for sure moment? I mean, you could maybe say to that Dallas game, but I think this year's playoffs, if he wins a couple playoff games, that hopefully will cement this whole thing, and people go, yeah, maybe the thing, he's never going to be Aaron as, safe with the football, that you always know he's not going to make a mistake. And that's okay, because he's not Aaron Rodgers. But again, Tay, the rest of the numbers don't lie. Jordan Love is, knocking on the door of, I'm an elite quarterback in the NFL.
I know. And sometimes you have to kind of like think about it again and be more clear with yourself. But I don't want to have to always look at the stats to say, oh yeah, right. He is good, right? The stats, yes, okay, right. He is a good quarterback. Like I want to like see it with my eyes and go like, that's my quarterback. Like it happens. There's like many moments right during the game. You're like, yo, there he is, right? But then I'm like, I want to be there most of the time. Like go like, yeah, he's my guy, and I haven't got that feeling yet. It's not that I don't want it. It's not that I don't like Love. It's just I think he's serviceable. He's above average. He's elite. I can't say that, but I didn't want to pay him all that money. I know we would have lost him probably, but I just don't. I'm just not there yet. Still,
he's only 27. Tay.
I know. So that's what I'm saying. I just realized when you were talking that like because you brought up the stats. You look at the stats, then yes, of course. And so I don't want to do that. I don't want to have to like always be like, oh yeah, the stats say he's a good quarterback. Right. That's right. He's elite.
You know what I like about him over Aaron Rodgers is when the Packers would get down or Aaron would make a mistake or he's not having his best game, he's in his head. Jordan, because Aaron's so cerebral, he's just such a thinker. He can't turn it off. Jordan's just, I made the mistake, on to the next play. I can rally this team at any point. He doesn't get down. That's just not his mental makeup. And that's what I like about him over Aaron in some respects. Aaron was too smart for his own good, but also in his head way too much. And Jordan, he'll just live to play the next down, man. And he'll go right back at it.
Ooh, we got some shots fired here. I think, Ren, the round square says, too bad Bo Nix is going to outplay him.
Oh, Bo Nix. There's nothing that – I mean, Bo's been a serviceable quarterback, but I don't see anything that says this guy's going to move into the elite quarterback territory. Can he win you football games like people said about Jordan early in his career? Yeah. But can he win you the big one? We'll see. I mean, it's nice to have a really, really great defense for a young quarterback like that. Makes him look a hell of a lot better. So we'll see on Sunday, no doubt. We'll get our first taste of this. Maybe it's a Super Bowl preview. Who knows, Tay?
That's right. I did see that in the headline. But, after the game, we do our first takeaway. We jump on here live. So the round square 7942, please join us after the game, and we will eat crow. If you're right, and if we're right, then you need to join our live stream every week going forward for the rest of your life. So that's the deal. But I just want to say to everyone, thank you for watching live. We got a few more live stream watchers right now, but we're on X, YouTube, and Twitch every time we do a show. So thanks for joining. Thanks for commenting. Yes, he says he will see us then. So yeah, looking forward to that.
Well, I think if Denver wins, Tay, it's not because of Bo Nix, it's because that crazy great young defense they have and how they're playing. So on that note, Tay, until the first take on the pup list.